Alright, welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 video. This time we're going to be taking a look at a class called the Accursed class. Of course, there are 3 subclasses, but for this video we're going to be focusing solely on the Corrupted subclass, as that's the one I have the most practice on. If you want to see the other subclasses, go ahead and leave a link in the description down below, and I'll do a short video just covering the level up classes and some small gameplay and combat. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to try and do these a little bit more frequently. I'm going to at least try and shoot for maybe once a week, give or take, as it does take a little bit of time to level up the character, test out some of the subclasses, and decide which video that I'm going to be making for it, because if I try to make all the subclasses in one video, we will be sitting here for like another 30-40 minutes. So yeah, in any case, hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you towards the end of the video. Alright, so taking a quick look at the mod page itself, we have the Accursed class. I believe this is available both on console and on PC. So the Accursed class is essentially a high-risk, high-reward class. It allows you to sacrifice a bit of your health pool in order to do more damage, negate damage, or give another opportunity for movement without attracting the opportunity for attack, excuse me. The main stats for this are strength, and the second will be charisma. However, I use constitution in my testing, and at least for the corrupt class, I found that constitution suited my needs a little bit better. But strength and charisma are the two that are recommended, with charisma scaling with the features of some classes. Now, the 3 subclasses that you have access to are going to be the subclass of the Damned, subclass of the Corrupt, and subclass of the Possessed. In this video, we're just going to be going over the Corrupt. If you want to see one for the Damned and the Possessed, let me know, and I'll make separate videos for those as well. So, the Accursed, like I said before, is a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. You'll drain your hit points in order to either extra damage, negate damage at a flat rate, or give yourself an extra opportunity for movement without triggering opportunity to attack. The mod page goes over the list of features and abilities here. We're going to go over this in-game, but it's just a quick overview up until level 20 if you so choose. Now, a lot of these modded subclasses, I would recommend that you do go up to level 20 if you're playing on like maybe a harder difficulty level, just so you can experience the full benefits of the class itself, because it seems like this and some other classes I've been testing, which I'm still making videos on, really fall short at level 12. I feel like they're really meant to go the extra mile with 13 and level 20. And I think the game scales accordingly to your higher level, especially if you're playing on like honor mode. But in any case, we're going to go in game. We're going to take a look at the class itself, and then I'm going to demonstrate some combat. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave the entirety of the combat because it was, for spoiler alert purposes, it is going against the followers of Shar, and they are pretty tough, and the combat engagement is long. But I'll probably leave it there, and I'll leave a timestamp if you want to see the full fight. It is about 10 to 15 minutes of me fighting, so be that as it may, we'll go ahead and showcase that towards the end. Alright, so here you're a character creator. In terms of races, like the base races here, again, play what you want. I would say maybe a half orc would be good, just because you have the relentless endurance, which allows you to survive one last hit. But it doesn't really matter too much in terms of like min-maxing. I typically always go with the play what you want and have fun. But if you want to min-max, I would say probably orcs are pretty good. I would say orcs are pretty good. You can go with the half health to be able to see in the dark. Drows are also pretty good as well. You have weapon training with some other weapons if you want to be more proficient. But again, none of these really matter personally unless you're like trying to min-max at the most. You do have some modded classes. Don't worry about these. For people that's playing like the base game, you can do like a drow or tiefling. Tiefling's pretty good because you get like another bonus resistance to fire. Humans are always good just because they're really good at like nothing, but are good at almost everything. Sort of. It's a little weird with humans. Like they're decent with like weapons. They have the most proficiency of weapons, I believe. And you can choose additional skill. But just for this example, we're just going to be building up with the half orc in mind. Anyway, going to the Accursed class, by allowing their curse to eat away at their bodies, the Accursed are able to channel it outward, granting them a terrible power at the cost of their own vitality. The first action that you get at level 1 is going to be Dark Side. This allows you to have your melee attacks do an extra 1 to 8 necrotic damage until a long rest. So this is going to be something that you buff at the start of your adventure. Usually at the same time you do like Long Strider or Mage Armor, things like that. So the class feature you get is Stigma. While channeling your Dark Side, you ignore resistance to necrotic damage. So obviously, you negate the damage that you're doing to yourself, as well as the damage that other enemies do if they use necrotic damage. Background doesn't really matter. Guild Artisan is probably the most popular, just because it allows you to Again, min-max if you really wanted to. Again, play what you want. I would say if you want to go like role-playing, Hunted one is really good. You could be a criminal that, you know, finally got caught and killed, so on and so forth. Play what you want, make the background what you want. Have fun. That's the min-max way to play. It's just to have fun. Abilities. Now, the mod page recommended that strength and charisma are the 2 stats here. As you can see, 15, 14, dexterity being 12, constitution being 13. What I would probably do, I would probably lower dexterity to 10. Bump up constitution. Gives you more hit points to play around with. Charisma is good for your abilities. Depending on how you want to play, I would probably still make strength a priority, because you're going to be doing melee attacks at the end of the day. Strength is going to be your priority. And then from here, it's kind of like your preference, whether you want to go with constitution or charisma. I would say if you feel like you are good with your pool management, your health pool management, then put one into charisma to give your abilities extra buff. If you feel like I don't want to have to worry about watch my health too much and just want that extra safety net, I would say focus on constitution as your secondary stat. I chose constitution just because I like having a bigger health pool to play around with, and this is also going to play into the feats that you pick at levels. I believe it's 4, 8, and 12, if I remember correctly. Skill proficiencies, again, doesn't really matter too much. You have pretty good stats. With like persuasion, imitation, you can go with deception and perception. Those are always pretty good. And then you can proceed with that. And then that's basically how I would start off the character. Kind of start building the character. I'm going to switch to my other character that's already been leveled up, and we're just going to go through the 1 to 12 process. I'll probably go a little bit higher just so I can show like what you get going past level 12. But yeah, I'll go into my other character to show that now. Alright, so here's my other character. I actually like the way that she looks. Anyway, going from level 1 to level 2, the first things that you get is a health increase. You get a class feature. You can now use Delay the Inevitable more times per long rest. Delay the Inevitable is harness your indomitable resolve to keep fighting when others would have fallen. So this is basically a heal that takes a bonus action and stock points of Delay the Inevitable. These are sort of like your resource points that you can use to do healing or other abilities. I believe you get up to 4 or 5 stacks close to max level, so you can use those wisely. They reset on long rest. Now, fighting style. Depending on how you want to fight, obviously, this is pretty standard. You have defense if you want a bit more armor class. Dueling if you plan on using a one-handed sword and board. This is pretty good. Great weapon fighting is which I recommend just because of the weapon I'm going to be using, which gives you an extra die to roll for a better chance of damage. And then protection. I really don't use protection too much. It's good for some occasions, but I still think great weapon fighting would be the go-to choice, at least for the weapon that I'm going to be using here, and I'll showcase that towards the end. Alright, at level 3, this is where we get the subclasses. But before that, we get another health buff, and we get a new subclass feature, which changes depending on what subclass you pick. For the Corrupt, we have the Frightened Visage. The corruption within you has deformed your body into a sickly and defined sight. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for intimidation checks. And then the new action that you get is Unholy Bile. Suffer 3 necrotic damage and spit upon a foe, possibly blinding them and stalling them with fear. This is actually pretty good. It's just a bonus action. You can use it as many times as you want. You don't have to wait for a long rest, depending on how many bonus actions you have. Actually, pretty good, decent ability. Now, for the subclasses, we have the Corrupt subclass. Your corpse is deforming you, slodging skin from bone and turning blood to acid, which you unleash on your foes, which we talked about earlier. You can spit up bile and possibly poison and frighten enemies. The next one is the subclass of the Damned. Your curse sparks your essence, eat away at your very soul to empower yourself and your allies. Now, this allows you to sacrifice your own hit points to help your allies. As you can see here, soul cover. Offering a portion of your soul, suffering 3 necrotic damage to gain an ally 1d8 temporary hit points. Again, pretty useful if you need to give someone a quick bump in health at the sacrifice of your own. And then you get sympathetic pain, which is just detect thoughts. Again, pretty useful, but I would say there's probably someone else in your party that's going to have it, or there's items that give you detect thoughts, so not the strongest ability that you can have for this class. And the last one is the Possessed subclass. Your curse calls at your mind and altering your thoughts. Channel this Dark Passenger to manipulate your foes in the battlefield. So your action that you get is Dark Passenger. If there's something else guiding your hand, grants you a plus 1d6 damage to ability checks. Again, pretty strong. I would say this is probably like the second subclass I would use. If I didn't like the Corrupted, I'd probably go with the Possessed. Also gives you actions such as Dark Lore. Suffer 3 necrotic damage to pull an enemy towards you and deal 1 to 8 damage towards them. And then same thing with Ejection. If you want to push them away from you, it's an action. This gets stronger as you level up. So you get a lot more utility off the Corrupt and the Possessed starting out. Soul Cover's pretty good, depending if you want to play more of a support class versus more damage and utility. So, but for this, we're going to go with the Corrupt subclass. All right, level 4, you get another health increase, and you have your first ability to pick. Now, depending on where your stats are, ability improvement's always a good choice. If you're playing on honor mode, alert is also really good, just because it gives you higher initiative and you no longer be surprised. Which if you're playing more support or you want to be the frontliner, having a higher initiative is always a good choice. Another good early choice if you want a Savage Attacker, if you're using melee weapons like heavy melee weapons, gives you the ability to reroll your damage and use the highest if you want. Savage Attack is also pretty good. I would say depending on how you attribute your points for this, I'd probably do ability improvement and put this up to 18 and this up to 14, so that way you get those ability point boost. All right, level 5 does a health increase, and you have your extra attack. Most classes are going to get extra attack at level 5. And then you have a new action, Dark Drift. Suffer 5 necrotic damage to double your movement speed and prevent opportunities of attack this turn. So again, this is where if you really need to get someone, you pop your Dark Drift, you take a little bit of damage, and now you have the ability to get around the battlefield a lot quicker, and you don't have to worry about triggering opportunity attacks. So again, this class is really decisive on, hey, I need to do this, but I don't want to deal with this. Let me take a little bit of damage versus taking big boy damage and do what I need to do. At level 6, another health increase. And then we have another subclass feature, Bad Blood. Your blood is poisonous to others. When a creature hits you with a melee attack, they become poison for the rest of their turn. This is actually pretty cool because early out you will be fighting like a lot of people that are weak to damage. And if they come up and hit you, spit their blood on them, boom, now they're poisoned. You actually can kill them towards the end of their turn. Pretty useful passive ability to have. At level 7, another health increase, and we get 2 new class features. The first one is the additional delay of the inevitable charge. This is what I was talking about earlier, how you can heal yourself or use other actions. You get another charge for that, which I think puts you at 2 charges at level 7. And then we have Mired Strike, which is actually pretty interesting. This is a reaction. When dealt damage, prevent all damage that would be dealt and immediately suffer 7 necrotic damage instead. Now, depending on what level you are and where you're at, this could be good or bad. I don't know if it works for crits, but if, say, someone's attacking you and you want to use this ability, you can risk, hey, am I going to take just like a flat damage, or is it possible they're only going to do 2 or 3 damage, or do I already have a shield around me and I just want to take like 7 temporary hit point damage? Really useful ability. Gets a lot stronger later on. Alright, at level 8, we get another health bump, and then we have new feat available. At this point, if you didn't choose Alert, I probably wouldn't worry about it. At level 8, it's not going to be as useful. You can still choose it, though, if you want to go higher in the initiative. Salvage Attacker is always really good. You don't really have to worry about things such as Warcaster, because you're not really good at casting spells. If you want to get more proficiency with weapons, like say there's a weapon type that you like, this class and stuff should have most of them. You can't do like 1 bump to strength though, but you really don't have to worry about Weapon Master. I would say probably the best bet if you want to be a little bit more tanky. You can do like Heavy Armor Mastery to increase your strength if you want. Charge is also really good if you want that. If anything else, you can always go with another ability improvement and bump up your strength to 20. Or if you're focusing more on charisma, you can bump that up. Put constitution up if you're working on that as well. I'd probably do... This is a little bit tough because you have so many options. Durable's good, simply because it gives you like the ability to get full health points, and it bumps up your constitution by 1. So if you feel like, oh, I don't want to waste an ability point to level up something like to an odd number, Durable's also a good choice. Or you can go with alert if you like. Alright, at level 9, you have another health bump increase, and then you have 2 more class features. The first one is Into the Abyss. While below half your maximum hit points, your armor class is increased by 2, and you gain a +2 to melee attack rolls. So the more damage you take, up to below half, the little bit more tankier you'll get, and the harder you'll hit. Now, you can actually trigger this yourself if you use your abilities to kind of give yourself that extra damage or that extra defense. So, a little bit, again, of that risk-reward gameplay style. Ever forward, while succumbing to your dark side, your movement speed is increased by, your movement is increased by 4.5 meters. So whenever you use dark side at the start, you'll have more distance to be able to reach your enemies or your allies. All right, at level 10, we have another health bump, and then we have a new action, Unmend. Unleash a foul, humorous, rotting. Unleashes the foul humors rotting within your body, dealing 3 to 4 necrotic damage. This does damage for 2 turns. Very strong ability. Has like a surface toxin surface for 2 turns. I like this ability. It's pretty strong. It allows you to potentially do poison damage. The damage is really good for necrotic damage. Obviously, whenever you go into like the Underdark, you're going to feel a little bit more weaker than usual, just because, well, you're going to be doing necrotic damage against enemies that deal with necrotic. So you might not be as strong in the Underdark, but in other areas, especially against humanoids, going to be a pretty strong ability to have. It does use a delay the inevitable action, so just be in mind of that. Alright, at level 11, have another health increase, and then we have a new action called Desperation. Suffer 11 necrotic damage and make a weapon attack. As you notice, it doesn't have a action or a bonus action. This is just a flat attack on its own. So this gives you basically another attack to use once per turn. However, you do suffer 11 necrotic damage to make that weapon attack. Now, you can miss, and you'll still take the damage. It doesn't matter what you do. If you miss, crit, or hit, you're still going to take that 11 necrotic damage. So just be in mind of that whenever using this ability. Alright, at level 12, which is where probably most people are going to stop, you have your final health increase, and then you have one more feature ability. At this point, if you're level 12, you're pretty much almost towards the end of the game. Ability improvement is probably going to be your best bet if you haven't already got items to bump up one of your scores, or you're not using like potions of Giant Hill Elixir that bump your score up to 20 or 23. I would say probably if you're bumping up your strength with elixirs, go ahead and just use Constitution or maybe Charisma if you want more damage. I'm going to do Charisma just so I can balance out a little bit more damage, because I do have like items and weapons and stuff that could increase my strength. So Charisma's pretty useful. Now, if you want to go beyond that, I'll do a couple levels beyond just to kind of show what you get. I'm not maxed out at level 20 with this character just yet. At level 13, you'll get another action called Dark Shift. Suffer 13 necrotic damage to teleport to an unoccupied space you can see. So this basically gives you a Misty Step at the cost of your health. Very strong ability at higher level. That's why I said earlier in the video that if you want to play with a lot of these classes that I do showcase, sometimes it is a good idea to play within that 13 to 20 level class, just because you have a lot more abilities and stuff to play with. Level 14, just as base health increase, you get no new abilities. In level 15, another health increase up to 170, so you have a lot of hit points to play with. You get another additional delay the inevitable charge, where will put you at a total of 3. So, with that, you see we have 170 hit points. We got 3 charges of delay the inevitable we can use. We have our ability stacked here. Now, in terms of items, the character that I have, one item that I do recommend, depending on how you're playing, is to get the Sword of Chaos. This does additional necrotic damage, and you also get 1 to 6 hit points whenever you hit, so it mitigates some of the damage that you take for doing some of these actions if you manage to actually hit the opponent with it. So highly recommend this. Armor I have is Reaper's Embraces, more for like aesthetic purposes, more so than abilities. There's probably stronger armor out there, but it does give you 19 armor class, heavy armor, pretty good. And then Cloak of Protection is always good for +1 armor class and saving throws. The hat gives you +2 to charisma, so that's how I say I have items that bump my charisma. Boots of Striding, you really don't need this for this character. I just don't have other boots that are useful, but those are some of the items that I have for this particular character. Now, if we're going to go with like min-max, there's other items that you possibly can have, and I'll try and find them and link them in the description down below. Or if you have recommendations for items that will go good, such as necklaces or rings, please let me know how to best sort of like min-max this ability if you like. Anyway, so that's the items I'm going to be using. I'm going to be going into, like I said, the fight against the followers of Shar. I'm going to be going there with Shadowheart, Gale, and Mathara. So enjoy the fight. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a long one. So if you don't want to see the entire fight, completely understand. But I figured I might just be able to showcase the entire fight in its own, just because it's a little bit easier to kind of understand what's going on. It is a bit of a long one. I think it's like an additional 10 to 15 minutes. But if you have enjoyed up to this point and that's all you cared about, just seeing the class and the abilities, please hit that like and subscribe button, all the YouTube typical stuff, and I'll see you towards the end of the video. Alright, so this is a post-editing hero here. So I decided to do a smaller scale battle just because the battle with the followers of Shar took like 25 minutes, and it just took way too long for this video, make it almost an hour. So I did like a short little skirmish on the streets of Baldur's Gate, so should be a little bit more scaled and easier to kind of understand what the class can do. So enjoy the much shorter fight.
Perhaps it would be wise to leave. I must heal. I need healing.
Alright, so that's going to do it for the combat scenario. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, if you want to see more, let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, bell notification icon, subscribe, and all that typical YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next Baldur's Gate 3 mod video. Take care.